Hey guys, I'm Eric Gerber. Today I want to talk about my thoughts and main takeaways on this really cool interview between Ollie Sykes and Nick Nocturnal, where they discuss Bring Me the Horizon's new upcoming album, Count Your Blessings Repented, which is basically like a 20th anniversary remake of their debut album, Count Your Blessings, which was released back in 2006. Really cool interview. I highly recommend checking it out if you haven't. It was really cool hearing sort of Ollie and the band's perspective on where they started and what their journey has been thus far. But what I want to talk about is my main takeaway from this video, which is basically comes down to this moment over here.
Cluelessness, like,
Yeah.
and that we tried and we sat with it and we're like, oh my god, this is awful, this is terrible, we can't put this out. We'd actually made like 500 CD cases to put the CDs, and we're like, we can't sell this, it's terrible. And then when MySpace came out, we're like, look, just chuck it on MySpace, we've got nothing else. Those songs were like number one on that hardcore MP3. But I think it reminds me of like a lot.
So basically what Ollie Sykes is talking about here is how when they got the album back and listened to it for the first time, they kind of hated it. And to the point where they weren't even going to put it out. And then just as a sort of a last minute whim decision, they decided just to put it on MySpace, and then it blew up on Hardcore MP3, which was sort of like a pirate site back at the time where you can illegally download music of other heavy bands. And they reached number one, doing better than other bands that were on there like Lamb of God, As LA Dying, bands like that. So, and that was just like some, a bunch of kids who didn't know what they were doing, and they put out an album and it blew up. So why is this my takeaway? And what can we as heavy, songwriters of heavy music learn from this story? This is something that happens all the time, not just with Count Your Blessings. It's literally go watch an interview of some of your favorite artists and bands, and there's bound to be a story very similar to this. A few examples off the top of my head is Scarlet by Periphery. When they put it out, they didn't think it was anything special. It was a demo from Haunted Shores that they just decided to put on the album. They thought it was like a stock standard formulaic pop rock song. They didn't think it was anywhere near as good as some of the other songs on the album, but it was it was one of their breakout singles. It was one of the singles or songs that put them on the map as a band. Another example is something older, Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana. Kurt Cobain didn't even like that song. He thought it was kind of a ripoff of the Pixies. Again, massive hit. Wait and Bleed by Slipknot. Same thing. I think it came together really quickly in studio. They thought it was just sort of like a stock standard new metal, generic new metal track that they just put together to please the label. And again, blew up, became a generational anthem. So what is the moral of the story between this interview, what Ollie was saying here, and all these other examples? It's that we have no perspective or objectivity when it comes to our own music as artists. We don't know what's going to blow up, what's going to become a huge hit, or what's just going to sort of fizzle out and no one's going to care about. And that's why when I hear stories like guys spending, 7 years to write one single song, I just think to myself, why? Why do that when perfectionism is clearly subjective? What you think is going to be the perfect song or the perfect album or the perfect EP is clearly not going to be how your audience is going to experience that. What their perception of that is going to be. So what can we learn from this, and what can we do differently as songwriters based on this story that Ollie Sykes told? And the answer is, in my opinion, just stop overthinking it. Stop letting the illusion of perfectionism hold you back from releasing songs, because you don't know how your song is going to be perceived. The best thing you can do for your music is just to release it. Don't hold it back. If imagine that Bring Me the Horizon didn't put that song up on MySpace, it would have been a disservice to so many people. It would have been a disservice to the scene at the time. Even now, I mean, think about how many bands and songs and people were inspired by Count Your Blessings. Can you imagine what the scene would have been like today, the heavy music scene, if Count Your Blessings didn't exist? And that just came down to literally two guys sitting behind a computer deciding, oh, should we just put this out? Why not? Even if they didn't think it was anything special, they kind of hated it. It would have been such a shame if that album didn't exist today. So, and your album that you're holding back, maybe you have an EP or a couple of songs sitting on a hard drive, or an album that you recorded that you think is totally trash, and you're just not releasing it. Don't sit on it. Just put it out, because you don't know how it's going to be received by people. You have no objectivity or perspective on your own music. And I think this is the thing holding so many people back. I know so many guys, incredible musicians, amazing, vocalists and songwriters who just no one's ever heard of them because they just don't put out their music, because they just think it's not good enough. They're afraid of rejection. They have really high expectations of themselves, and this idea of what the perfect song should sound like, what's going to be good enough to represent them as an artist. And it's probably the thing that holds them back. It's probably the number one reason why they haven't gotten anywhere, because if you think about it, Bring Me the Horizon were just kids when they put it out. Before they went into studio and recorded their album, there was nothing. The only thing that was different between them and all the other bands on Hardcore MP3 was the fact that they didn't have any music out there. And that is often the case with, that might be the difference between you and your heroes, the people you look up to, is literally the only difference is song output. It's the fact that they have songs out there for people to listen to, and you don't. That might be the only difference between you and them, which was the case for Bring Me the Horizon. They didn't have an album. Those other bands did. They put in an album, and all of a sudden, they were on par with so many top-tier metal bands, and at least from an audience perspective. So stop sitting on your songs, release your music, and if you need help doing that, this is actually the whole reason why I made this ebook. I call it the Modern Guitarist Song Finisher Roadmap. It's a free ebook. You can grab it. I'll put the link in the description. The whole point of it is to help guitarists, and by giving them a process they can follow from start to finish, to either write a brand new song from scratch, or to take an existing sort of riff or idea and work through this ebook to the point where they've finished the song, and to the point where it's release ready, even if it's not 100% perfect. So yeah, it's just to help people, because I think that's the number one thing holding people back, is just the fact that they don't put their music out because they get in their own way. So yeah, learn from Ollie Sykes and so many others. Don't make the same mistake as thousands and thousands of artists make by just not finishing their songs or not putting out their songs because they don't think it's good enough, because that is probably not true. And the evidence is clear as day that just because you think something's not good enough doesn't mean that your audience is going to think the same. What you think is imperfect might be perfect to someone else out there. In fact, it might be perfect to a whole generation of people. And you'll just never know unless you put your music out there. So grab the roadmap, start finishing more songs, stop putting more songs out there, and you just never know what could happen. Anyway, that's my takeaway from this video. I hope you found my perspective interesting. Maybe it inspired you to go and finish more of your songs and start putting more music out there. And yeah, that's me. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and see you in the next one.